What's up, guys? So recently I was thinking about my personal evolution in terms of body image, like how I used to want to look and how now I think of myself and how I want to look now. And the fact that there's been an evolution with that and that it has switched, I think is very interesting. And so I was thinking about that and connecting that to being gay because I think it's definitely related and connected. And so I just wanted to bring up this concept of body image because we all know it's a big deal in the gay world. Gay people generally and stereotypically speaking are very concerned with how they look and how they present themselves. When it comes to body image with gay men, it's not even just that there's one singular thing that all gay men strive to look like. I think there's different categories. Like there's the guys who are all about the aesthetic, you know, the outfit, the clothes, making sure they have the nicest clothes, the nicest hair, that they get a haircut every week, every 2 weeks. And then you have, you know, the gym guys, the guys who are at the gym every day and want to be super muscular. All their abs are showing and, you know, little body fat. So it's interesting how everybody has a different version of how they want to be seen and presented in order to attract attention and I guess to feel better about themselves. And so for me, I remember when I was in middle school and high school, I always thought like, I really want to be muscular. Like that's how I want to look. I want to be like a hunk. It never worked. I never worked hard enough at the gym because I don't care enough about that image or that aesthetic. I just really don't like working out. But anyway, as the years went on, I would say about halfway through college, my mentality just switched, and instead I really cared about being lean and just looking healthy and thin. And I have to assume that switch came partially from being more comfortable with myself, where I didn't feel like I had to look like something more unique, meaning like a guy who's super buff and muscular. I didn't feel that I had to look like that to be attractive. And I think also it's just you get older and then you associate youth with being lean and being thin as opposed to necessarily health is being super muscular. Obviously when you look at me, I'm generally fit. I'm generally considered thin. Like I'm not overweight by any means. But it's interesting that it's like you have this voice programmed inside of you of like you want to look like this, you want to look like that. And I'm not unhappy with the way that I look. This is the best I've ever looked. I look at some of my old videos from a year ago. When I lived in New York City, I kind of would like hibernate a little bit in the winter and it showed, and I didn't realize that it showed, but when I look at my oldest videos on here, I look heavier. And it's funny because I couldn't have been more than 5 pounds heavier than I am now. And yet my face looks fuller. Everything about me looks just kind of thicker. And some of it I think really did just come off naturally from indeed living in places like Miami or LA where you're just outside more. But I think some of it was also maybe subconscious that you kind of adjust and when you have that inside of you, this mentality of like, you know, I would like to lose a few pounds, you start to make different choices, and I definitely have started doing that more and more. I have been somebody who has always just eaten whatever he wanted, and now I'm like, okay, maybe I can skip dessert. Like I don't need to have this really sugary thing today. Actually, I don't ever need it because it's not good for you, but I'm more mindful. And I guess my point is that all this stuff is very interesting to think about because I'm sure there's some people who look at me and think, wow, he's like, he has the perfect weight because he's normal looking, you know? Like I like the fact that when I take off my shirt, it doesn't look ridiculous. Like it doesn't look like an absurd level of fitness where you can see every bone or see every muscle. I don't like that. But I do also have this voice inside of me that's like, you could still afford to lose a few pounds. So it's sad that some of it might just be me as a person, but some of it I think is also from just being gay. I think gay men were always thinking about how we present ourselves to the world and how we look. And I guess it's just something to be mindful of. Like, you are more than just your appearance. And the truth of the matter is, the only men I've ever met with eating disorders were all gay men, which says a lot. And as self-conscious as gay men are, I also feel like that makes them that much more picky. And I see that in myself too, so I'm not trying to judge because I see that in myself. But even on apps, I mean, I've had guys tell me that I was too hairy for them, and I've had other guys say I wasn't hairy enough for them, so they're not interested. And I feel like that only happens with gay men, that they're so selective. And I do feel, based on my observations, that people who are very selective and very picky, or even maybe very judgy, they tend to feel that way about themselves too, right? Like they're projecting the expectations that they have for themselves onto other people. I'm not trying to judge that. I'm just saying it's an interesting sort of analysis, right? To be aware of that, to be aware that the more judgmental you're of yourself, the more judgmental you tend to be of other people. Anyway, just some food for thought, I guess. Let me know what you guys think about all this stuff in the comments.
You're just like so, babe. A days and you melt away. Like autumn leaves you go. Like you never knew me